Welcome to Vendor Performance Management Training Module 5, the Review Request Process. This training module will cover the following aspects of the Vendor Performance Management Program, also known as VPM. Overview of Vendor Review Requests, the Vendor Performance Committee, and finally, we will walk through the review process. Let's start with the basics. A vendor review request is an opportunity for a vendor to request a formal review of an evaluation result by the Vendor Performance Committee, known as VPC for short, which consists of senior leadership at Alberta Infrastructure. Typically, a vendor requests a review after disagreeing with the project manager's evaluation of their performance. The review process gives the vendor a chance to compile their rationale as to why they believe they should have been scored differently on specific key performance indicators or KPIs for an evaluation result, and possibly say their scores on those KPIs adjusted by the VPC. Before submitting a review request, however, vendors need to request a discussion meeting with the project manager and contract evaluation advisor, or CEA. This allows for an open dialogue between the vendor and project manager, where they can each explain their rationale and viewpoints on how the vendor's performance should be scored, and provides an opportunity to resolve any major disagreements before it moves to the formal review process. For more information on the discussion meetings, please refer to training module number 3. And now that we know the basics behind review requests, let's go over the process step by step. This diagram is taken from training module number 3, where we cover the VPM performance evaluation process in more detail. The opportunity for a vendor to request a review happens once the vendor has received a copy of the finalized evaluation result and their overall vendor performance rating following that evaluation. The vendor review request step can be further expanded into a 5-step process. Starting at the review request step, a vendor looking to submit a review request must email a submission to the vendor performance team via email. Vendors must ensure to submit the review request within 10 business days of receiving their finalized performance evaluation. Once a formal review request has been received by a vendor, the VPM team verifies that all the requirements previously mentioned have been satisfied. If not, the vendor's review request may not be considered. Considering that some contracts involve high degrees of complexity, the VPC may request additional information or clarity for the review request summary from the vendor on some or all of the KPIs. The VPC will send a request to the vendor outlining the specific information required. If the vendor fails to provide additional information for the KPIs requested, the scores for those KPIs will be upheld with no further opportunity for review. The decision stage is where the VPC meet, discuss, and decide. The members of the VPC go through the review request summary, one KPI at a time, discussing the KPI score and all rationale and evidence provided. They will take into consideration any factors negatively affecting the vendor's performance that was outside the vendor's control, unless required by the terms of the contract. The VPC will then vote to either uphold or adjust the KPI score before moving on to the next KPI score. This will continue until they have gone through the entire review request summary. After the VPC has made their decisions regarding the review, the VPM manager adjusts any KPI scores on the original evaluation form used for the performance evaluation and then finalizes the evaluation. The evaluation result becomes part of the vendor's overall vendor performance rating. The VPC aims to respond back to the vendor with a decision within 30 business days of the review request being submitted. Lastly, the chair of the VPC sends a response letter back to the vendor outlining the decision on each KPI, along with the rationale for each decision. Decisions made by the VPC are final, with no further right to request additional reviews concerning the same evaluation result. If you're interested in learning more about the Vendor Performance Management Program, please check out our additional training modules that delve deeper into the specifics of the program. And if you have any questions, please contact the VPM team by email at any time. Thank you for watching.